The Fujifilm X Half camera was officially announced, and I'll be the first to admit, it looks a little gimmicky. Now, I love a good gimmicky camera, and you know that, but there's just a bunch of odd decisions they made with this camera that have myself and other photographers scratching their heads and wondering, what were they thinking? Like they used an LED flash like you would find in your smartphone, but then have no connection for a real flash, while also having a leaf shutter, but then without a real flash. That's one of the big advantages of a leaf shutter. And then there's also that questionable film advance lever they have going on. But then the icing on the cake was seeing this article recently that said something like, the Fujifilm X Half is the most analog digital camera. And I realized that wasn't true at all because I own the most analog digital camera ever, and it's way better than the Fujifilm X Half. So let's compare these cameras and tell Fujifilm and really any other manufacturer that wants to go down this analog digital camera experience thing what the gold standard is. This is the Epson RD1 from 2004, and it's, in my opinion, one of the finest digital cameras ever made, in the sense that the idea of what they were trying to do and the actual execution were done so well that I call it the perfect camera. It was also the first digital rangefinder ever made, even beating Leica, who owns that space now. So that brings up the first good point, which is that this is a true rangefinder. A rangefinder uses an optical viewfinder with two different windows, one that you're looking through and one that has a little mirror that's attached to the focusing mechanism of the lens and is adjusted when you focus the lens. That little adjusted mirror in the second window sends that light over to the first window, and you get those two images overlaid on top of each other. And when the edges of the subjects in that tiny patch line up with the image you're getting through the big viewfinder here, then your subject is in focus. And this is an old method of focusing that dates back long into the film days, but some photographers still prefer it today because it is a unique enough experience. I mean, that's why Leica still makes them today. The Fujifilm X Half isn't a rangefinder at all, even if it kind of looks like it. There's no mechanism in the optical viewfinder to determine your focus. I don't have anything big against the fact that it isn't a rangefinder. I like optical viewfinders and composing images through those rather than a screen anyway. But I do think some company sometime soon needs to make an affordable digital rangefinder. Not just Leica and Pixie doing it and Epson way back when, but a real new affordable option, because this is possible, folks. Don't make me be the first one to do it because it's going to be terrible. The Fujifilm X Half camera has gotten some negative attention for having an LED as a flash, like what you would find in your smartphone, rather than a xenon tube flash, like you would normally find in a lot of film and digital cameras. But whatever, a lot of these more analog film cameras didn't have built-in flashes anyway, so whatever, I guess that's not a big deal. But then the big deal is they don't have a way to connect a real flash, no sync port, and it's a cold shoe, it's not a hot shoe. The Epson RD1 absolutely did. You can attach an external flash and get some great pics that way. The Epson RD1 also has a film advance lever like the Fujifilm X Half, but it's infinitely better, and here's why. In the case of the Epson, this winder actually winds the mechanical shutter, which means both that you do have to wind it every time. It's not just a software thing limitation. It actually needs to be wound. And also you get excellent physical feedback when it clicks and goes through the winding motion, something that the Fujifilm X Half apparently lacks based on the initial reviews that I've seen and heard. Heck, even my Scamera, this Yashica Digifilm Y35 from Kickstarter, had that gimmicky film advance lever, but it has a bunch of physical action to it. You can hear it click through the gears and then spring back really sharply. So, man, if they can do it, and the Epson RD1 feels exactly like a film camera. Although perhaps that's unfair because this actually is a film camera. This was made in collaboration with Cosina, which was making Voigtlander film cameras for this at the time, and is basically just one of those with digital components inside of it. And that's kind of the other main complaint with the Fujifilm X Half, other than the price, of course. It's trying to provide a tactile film-like experience, but it mostly does this in gimmicky ways rather than actually using the magic of optics and mechanical moving pieces. I think that's what people want nowadays. When people talk about like the film experience, I think a big part of that is like the craftsmanship and the high quality and the physicality of these cameras, not just like software limitations. And Epson isn't the only manufacturer to put a digital sensor inside of a film camera. A few years back, I got to try out this Leica DMR, which is a Leica R9 film camera with an official accessory from Leica that fit an APS-C sensor onto the back film door. You just pop some pins and swap them out and use the camera just the same as you would with film. And a lot of early medium format digital cameras did this too, like my Hasselblad H1 that can shoot a variety of digital backs, like my Phase 1 back that I have now, or a film back. You get the same feeling from shooting film to digital because everything else about the camera stayed exactly the same. Many other film medium format systems had adapters to attach these third-party digital backs to their cameras, or you can make your own in the case of this project I'm working on to use my Phase 1 medium format digital sensor on a Mamiya universal press camera. Some other companies have tried to make sensors to put into your film cameras, but they have either been this little Raspberry Pi setups with tiny sensors with huge crop factors and bad quality, or just otherwise never made anything of actual quality that you'd want to use. I would love to see a major company like Fujifilm or heck even Pentax make easily swappable camera that goes from film to digital today. This can totally be done. And maybe the argument is that's too niche, but I mean, come on. Look at the Fujifilm X Half. You don't think that's super niche? Some companies even put digital sensors into film cameras without the option to go back to film, like in the case of my Kodak DCS 760. This is a Nikon F5 film body with Kodak digital guts stuffed in and the bottom of the camera extended for batteries. Once again, this gives the same great feel of the Nikon F5, which was a fantastic film camera, while also letting me shoot digital. The Nikon F5 also did something only a handful of SLRs did, and that was have swappable optical viewfinders. You can swap out for more magnified viewfinders, angled viewfinders, or even waist level viewfinders like this one. And there are very, very few options for a through the lens optical waist level viewfinder on a digital camera. Basically this camera and medium format digital cameras. And given the positive reception of my DIY waist level optical viewfinders that you can use on any digital camera, I feel like there's an appetite for waist level optical viewfinders. Or how about this, an early Panasonic camera that used an EVF, but if you press a button, the top of the viewfinder pops up and now it's an optical only viewfinder. You can't put all these features in the same camera, but I guess what I'm trying to say is there is a lot of cool stuff, awesome ideas, unique stuff out there if you're going down this route of a tactile physical camera experience that the Fujifilm X Half is just not at all tapping into. But what do I know? I'm just an average dad, nerdy photographer out there just with a bunch of thoughts. Let me know what you think and check out this video on the Epson RD1 if you haven't. It's awesome. I also have a video on the DCS 760, also an amazing camera. I'll see you over in those videos. Until next time, happy snapping.